Nabwendi ekikomando nkimanyi mbulidde ekikomando naye nzira waffe naye kati bamenye nzira ku street bazira ku street okitegeera nzira ku street bangenda kubba
agenda batya okukijingirira oba bakikola batya tetwamanya tugenda okulaba nga kakande azze ne fayiro nga batugamba nti yaguze ettaka kwaffe yaliguze kwani ettaka lyaffe.
Witnessradio.org changes all of that.
This is Witness Radio, connecting indigenous and local community voices. This is Witness Radio, connecting indigenous and local community voices.
Hello, welcome to Witness Radio, your number one station. My name is Rita Babide, and I would like to welcome you to this wonderful episode once again. It is the 30th of Jan 2025, one day to the next month. Hope you're prepared for this because it has just begun. First and foremost, we would like to thank you for tuning in to Witness Radio, #Know Your Land and Environment Rights program. Just a short recap of what we discussed in our third episode of Know Your Land and Environmental Rights. According to research, we discovered that the reason behind the high increase in land eviction in Uganda is that many Ugandans are not aware of their land rights and do not know how to secure their land interests legally. On that note, that's why this program was initiated, so that we can prevent the rates at which people's land is being grabbed illegally as a result of their ignorance about their land rights and laws governing land management. In addition, we also found out that there is an increase in the need of land chunks of land for land-based investments in the country, thus leading to many people being disposed of their land for these investments to be implemented. We also realized that the most affected land tenure system with land eviction in Uganda are those land tenure systems where their legal interests on land are not clear. For example, Vivanja holders and customary tenures. The main aim of this program is to equip Ugandans with knowledge so that they can have security on their land, stay safe, and utilize their land without being threatened with land evictions. Just a recap of what we discussed last time. We discussed about land laws governing land management in Uganda. That included the 1995 Constitution. We also saw the Land Acquisition Act. We saw the Land Act, the Mortgage Act, and hope you still recall all that, because we want this to be educative so that you don't forget anything, so that we have these laws at the tips of our hands, so that you're not threatened and you're not ignorant of any law about land. In our fourth episode today, we will be focusing more on customary land tenure system and what it entails. So with me, I have someone with me in the studio, and this is the person that we've been journeying with from the very first episode of Know Your Land and Environmental Rights. She's a lawyer by profession, and she's a very sweet lady that has been helping us to educate me and you about these land laws, so that we are not caught off guard and we are not deprived of our land. Madam Joan, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Madam Rita. Thank you so much. To our dear listeners, thank you for tuning in with us. Saying thanks for staying tuned into this program, Know Your Land and Environmental Rights. And hope we're actually doing justice to the communities and to our citizens in regards to them knowing their land and environmental rights, so that they can advocate for their rights from an informed point of view. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Joan. Big thanks to our listeners who have tuned in. For comments, feedback on our program, you can email us at radio@witnessradio.org. You can send us a direct message on our X handle, formerly Twitter, at Witness Radio, or call us directly at 041 4697 221. We definitely value your comments. We definitely value your opinions about this program. But before we go ahead and we discuss more on land and its laws, we are going in for a short commercial break, and we shall be right back.
Listen to Witness Radio and gain knowledge about land and environment injustices by communities.
Breaking the silence and elevating community voices. Witness Radio, your number one choice.
Nakato Priscilla from Mukono District and representing the affected communities in Mukono District. I just want to appreciate what Witness Radio has done for our people who are affected, whose land has been taken. They've suffered from evictions massively, but even as individuals.
This is Witness Radio, connecting indigenous and local community voices.
Hey, welcome back from that short commercial break. I'm glad that you're still tuned in to Witness Radio. Hashtag Know Your Land and Environment Rights. Today, we are discussing the land tenure systems. And today, we are going to focus more on the customary land tenure system, where it all started from, what laws that are governing it, what is done to have this customary land tenure system, whatever details that are within the customary land tenure system. We are going to learn that from Madam Joanne, definitely. And I can't wait to hear more on customary land system. I'm so excited about this topic. Hope you are too. Madam Joanne, you are very welcome. Kindly introduce yourself to our listeners once again, and then we continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Rita. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And thanks once again to our dear listeners for sticking to this program, Know Your Land and Environmental Rights. I mean, we are here to serve you, and we are to fight with you so that you can advocate for your land rights from any point of view, and referring to the law when you're fighting for it or advocating for it. Thank you. Today, we will be discussing about customary land tenure system. And the reason as to why we started with that tenure system is because it is actually it is actually the tenure system that existed in Uganda, before even coming into force of these other land decrees or land policies that actually brought in other tenure systems, or the colonialists that brought in other tenure systems in Uganda. That's why we shall start with customary tenure system, and the fact that it is dominant, like a lot of people are owning land under customary tenure system, and also the fact that it is one of the actually land tenure systems that are being affected with land eviction so much in Uganda. That is why we have started with it, so that people can actually advocate for their rights, like I said, referring to the law. Thank you. We shall start by understanding what customary land tenure system is. So I'll have to define customary land tenure system to you in a language that you best understand. The customary land tenure system in Uganda is one of the legally recognized land tenure systems that the country's constitution and Land Act recognize. It is deeply rooted in cultural practices, traditions, and norms of various communities, and forms the backbone of landholding for many Ugandans. Like we all know, before the coming into of colonialists, we used to own land communally. So this is a very basic land tenure system, to my own understanding, or if at all, for those that have been doing a little bit of research, you can actually tell that is the backbone, really, of landholding in Uganda. So we shall be giving you the characteristics of land tenure system. This is all about communal ownership. People own land. Land is typically owned and managed collectively by a clan, a family, or community. However, individuals can also have specific rights to use portions of land. That is under what? Customary land tenure system. Contemporary discourses on land in Africa is popularized because advocates of tenure reforms through state registration of individual titles to land and others who claim that customary or communal tenure is the only check against landlessness among the poor in the African countries, and that pro-poor land policy should therefore strengthen customary rights to land. You get it? Only between 2 and 10% of land in sub-Saharan Africa is held under freehold title. The largest portion is held under communal or customary tenure. This means access to land in most of sub-Saharan Africa continues to be determined by indigenous systems of land tenure that have evolved under local and colonial influences. That is why I was saying other land reforms actually came, or land tenure system came after the colonialists actually came and colonized Africa.
Okay, if to understand something about customary, you read something about family, clan, and communally owned land. So this is like a backbone way of how Africans used to own land.
Yes.
From your grandfather, your great grandfather,
exactly.
and this is the type of land that we are talking about.
Yeah, it's just that by that time they used not call it customary tenure.
Yes.
They used to call it like it did not have a name, so the name came in after the colonialists came in. Because people just used to use land communally. They would actually administer land depending on the functions of each clan or community, for those that did agriculture, for those that did pastoralism, things like that. So it did not have a name, but it's the backbone of land holding, because people used to own land
without basis. Even holding land title.
Yes, they did not have, Yes. Land tenure, when we are to talk about, I was still telling you that the largest proportion is held under communal or customary tenure. This means access to land in most of sub-Saharan Africa continues to be determined by indigenous systems of land tenure that have evolved under local and colonial influences. I want to define land tenure, what land tenure is, so that you get to know what we are talking about. Land tenure refers to how land is owned, occupied, used, and disposed of within a community.
Yes, literally the process how you can own land.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is what is that is how we define land tenure. Hope we are moving together, please, our dear listeners. If I'm to properly define land tenure, or we can define it in a way of how land is managed. How land is managed in Uganda, like in the systems in which land is managed in Uganda. I think that will be also another way of simplifying what land tenure is.
Yes.
So until 1975, Uganda had 4 types of land tenure systems: customary, milo, freehold, and leasehold. So according to research, customary land tenure is Uganda's most dominant land tenure. And if you're to look like sincerely, like when you go to like to the villages, that is what the most land tenure that you find.
Yes,
there.
And actually it still exists.
Yeah, yes. It does exist, yes. So according to research, it is the dominant. And since it is the dominant, and it is the one that is actually being affected so much with land eviction, we actually sat down and were like, no, I think let us first discuss customary land tenure, since it's the backbone of land holding in Uganda. Like I was saying, according to research, customary land tenure in Uganda is the most dominant land tenure in Uganda. This refers to a system where land is owned and disposed by customary regulations. When you talk about land customary tenure, it is a system where land is owned and disposed of by customary regulations. So you get it, eh? So people actually own land, referring to the customs of each community, or to the beliefs that they believe in. You get it? Yes. So under this tenure system also exists on its own as communal land ownership. You get it? So the 1998 Land Act, or as amended as of now, gives recognition to those who hold land under customary tenure, except for land in Buganda, which is held under Milo. You get it?
Yeah, and that belongs to the
Buganda.
Yes. Okay.
So there are many different types of customary tenure in Uganda. In some places it is held communally, in some it belongs to a particular clan, while in others it is held by individuals. And since now someone can actually get a customary land title, it actually advocates for people to actually have their own customary land individually, have legal ownership on customary land. We are still discussing the characteristics of customary land ownership. Hope we are moving together. Please feel free to engage us in case you don't get anything. We talk about another character, apart from the fact that it is owned communally and it is recognized by all other laws. It is the backbone of all other laws. You get it? And the fact that...
sorry to cut you short.
Yes.
Since land is owned communally, who is in charge? Like a person that is responsible for that land. Because if it's owned communally, it doesn't have a particular owner.
Usually in that way, people who are owning land under customary land ownership, they usually have clan leaders. So those clan leaders are the ones that help in the administration. So, the way people own land under customary land tenure, especially when it is not registered, is a bit different from the way people own land in other tenure systems. So people confuse it a lot. So here, these clan leaders actually, they help to administer land in a way to avoid disputes on the land. They agree who sells. Also some, like we have people who have, we call them the successors, the heirs, that actually also
that
help.
Inherit
and they also, they help to administer their parents' property or land. And under customary, it is usually boys that do that. It is very hard for girls to do that. So that's why we're having a lot of campaigns, advocacy campaigns going on, customary land being discriminative when it comes to ladies. So like this, the clan leaders are there to actually to guide in the administration of that land.
It's not gender-based.
No, it's not gender-based. It's non-gender-based as of now, because before, as of now, people are trying, because of the advocacy campaigns, it is a little bit changing, but don't know so much. But like there's some small, out of like 100, we can say like 20%. Something like that. Okay. So speaking about when we talked about the heirs, the ones that inherit their parents' property, that's also another characteristic of customary land tenure that I was coming to. That under customary land tenure, land is inherited. You get it? Land is often inherited within families or clans, with rights passed down through generations. You get it? You find that the father dies, gives to the son, then the son dies, gives to another son. So that's also another characteristic under customary land tenure system.
That is very understandable, and I'm sure most of the listeners know this.
Because most of them are actually living that kind of life. So when you talk about land use and management under customary land tenure system, the land rights are predominantly tied to its use for agriculture. The land rights are predominantly tied to its use for agriculture, grazing, or settlement. Like I said, usually the clan leaders will distribute land basing on what the community is based at. If you love subsistence farming, they would allocate land for subsistence farming so that they can get food to eat. Unlike these days where land is commercialized. You get it? So they will do that. It will be allocated according to the functions or to the benefits or the use of a community, or what the community is based at. You get it? So many people do not understand how the customary rules are supposed to work. You get it? Yes. Now, when we talk about customary ownership of land and customary rules they have been recognized by Parliament, like I said. So it is important to understand this. Some of the confusion about who owns the land under customary tenure is because the ownership and management of land are not organized in a way as other tenures, like I was telling you. Yes. In customary law, rights and responsibilities are not recognized in the same way. You get it? Owning land does not mean the same thing because the rights and responsibilities are different. This does not mean that people do not actually own land under customary tenure. They do own their land, but owning means something slightly different.
Yes, and that's what exactly we want to know.
Some people have the responsibility of administering land under customary tenure. This is usually the clan leaders, like I said, the clan elders. However, they also have the right to say who should sell the land. This is because they have the responsibility to protect the land for all the clans. They also have the responsibility to make sure that everyone is given the right of land, to own land, or the right to occupy land. You get it? Which rights do not exist in a freehold system.
And how do the freehold system do that? Because if the customary gives responsibility to the clan elders,
to help in the administration.
Yeah, to help in the administration.
Now, with freehold, you actually have the sole rights to your land. You have a land title that shows, that has a name. Let's say if I buy land under freehold, the title has Joan.
Yes.
And no other person actually can come and say anything on that land. I have the legal interest on the land.
Yeah, meaning you don't own land on behalf of somebody or on behalf of a community.
No.
It's particularly yours.
Yes. So with customary, people have the right of occupancy. They can be on the land, you know.
As long as they are part of that community, as long as they are part of that clan.
Exactly, but when they don't have the legal interest, like the title or something on it, but they have the right of occupancy, and that is granted by the elders. The elders helps to administer to avoid those land disputes that happen.
Okay.
Yeah. So as we're still talking about to unfold the confusion that is there when it comes to land ownership in customary and comparing it with other land tenure systems. The family, we were still saying that they do own their land, but owning means slightly something different with customary tenure. Some people have the responsibility for administering land. This is usually the clan leaders. However, they also have the right to say who should sell the land. This is because they have the responsibility to protect the land for all the clans. They also have the responsibility to make sure that everyone is given the right to occupy land, which right does not exist in freehold system, because freehold, like it's my land, it's my land. I have a right, like, yeah, it is me on the land.
Yes.
Get it? Yes. So the family heads usually manage the land on behalf of the family. He is the steward, like a heir, like I said, is the steward of the land. His rights to manage the land go together with the responsibility to look after the rights of others to use the land and to make sure that the next generation will be able to enjoy the land. Like I said, from father to child, from child to grandchild, from great child to great grandchild, like that.
Yes.
Yes. Other people in the family may also have the right to use the land. That is why it is not so easy to answer who owns the land. The land belongs to the family within the clan, but the rights are shared in a complex way. Yeah? The clan has the responsibility of overseeing the administration of all the land. This means making sure that there are heirs appointed at a household level to manage the land and to oversee and authorize any land sale. The clan also owns land which is communally used, such as for hunting and grazing. It is responsible for ensuring proper use of the land and that there are no trespasses. A son becomes head of the household at his marriage. He is then allocated land and managed for the good of the family. That is why in some communities you find father, grandfather, the child, like they have like homesteads, like in Karamoja.
Yes.
Find some people staying like sister, what they all have different huts on a certain piece of land. Yeah. So
actually, I have seen this. I went to Kume, and I have seen this. They have they are still living in grass patched houses, and so they are all round.
Exactly.
Yes, and the whole family is there. You find this is the heart of the grandmother, this is the heart of the great grandchild, and the mother, the father, the head of the clan, and all that.
Yeah, in my own opinion, I feel like that also kind of helps them to actually protect their land from trespassers, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like me, that's what I think. So I was still telling you how I think we are still talking about a son, this generational passing on of land, and what a son becomes head of the household at marriage. He is then allocated land and managed for the good of the family. He is the steward of that land. His wives, children, and other family members, also trespassers, have the right to that land, but he is the overall manager. He allocates land to his wife or wives. like every wife, some of them have a tendency of giving every wife some piece of land.
Yes.
Maybe you do your agriculture on that land, small subsistence farming, so that you can actually maintain your family and probably find some food for the family to eat.
Yeah, actually, apart from people just wanting to be independent, this is the best land tenure that you could ever have.
It is, but as of now, that the level of commercialization of land is very high. It is actually, it makes it vulnerable to land evictions, because people will take advantage of the fact that most of them, their legal interests on land are unclear, like they're not registered. That is why we even have people coming up with land titles on those lands. They usually look for lands that they know exist, but their registration is not clear. So they'll get a land title on that land and be like, no, this land belonged to me since blah blah blah. You get it. So even when you try to go to court and you file a case against such an investor or whoever is trying to evict those people, it is very hard to prove ownership. And with the law, it is evidence to evidence.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is very hard to actually prove ownership. So as of now, it is really tricky. That is why they actually introduced people can register for customary land titles.
And the law is blind.
Legal ownership. It is.
Yeah.
To prove customary ownership. So I was still saying that a son can be the steward of the land, but he can allocate the land to his children, to the wife, and to whoever he feels like at that particular moment. But he's the overall manager who says, now I'm selling this land. No, don't sell it. Though sometimes it has to be with the permission of the clan leader. So we have instances where a widow also becomes head of the household on the death of her husband. She then has the responsibility to manage the land which had been allocated to her, and to allocate to her male children when they become adults and get married. So this happens where the husband dies and all the kids are minors. So it means the mother has to be in charge until the male children grow up, and then they take charge. So the elders or the clan who appoint an inheritor to support her and protect her from trespassers. So the clan leaders will hope, I think usually when they say inheritor, they will always get someone who can support that lady. Some people listen to a man's voice when he talks. It is, people usually listen to it, or they give it attention more than when a lady speaks.
Yeah, so men are so like their voice is commanding.
Yes.
Contrary to women.
Exactly.
But I thank God nowadays that has changed. There are some ladies that are very strong-willed and like they can stand in a crowd and command.
I agree with you.
Yes.
There has been women have been empowered.
Yes.
But
a man is a man.
Yeah. A man is a man. And the level of empowerment also, it is limited. Like when you go to the villages, some women do not know these things. When a man speaks, the man has spoken. You get it?
Yes.
So, yeah, I agree with you that women have been empowered.
Yeah.
But some of them don't even know about empowerment when you go to villages. And these are the people that actually suffering or being affected with this discrimination. But yeah, people, organizations, women organizations have really done a very big work, good job.
Yeah, there is a lot of self-esteem among
they've
women.
Done a very great
confidence,
job.
And I love the women that we are becoming in these days.
Yes, they've done a great job.
Yeah.
Where women are no longer so much in the kitchen like they used to. Even the government has tried to empower women. Yeah, we agree. If you look at all the MPs in the parliament, the ministers, women are there. Oh
my God!
And they are vocal.
Yes.
So even the government has played a big role in empowering women.
But still, this still carries on that the sons always inheriting the family wealth, the family land titles, and all the property.
I still have I have a feeling people feel like women are too soft-spoken. Women are too soft, like they are too vulnerable, like they cannot fight best over certain things. That is why people like those I'll not call them primitive, but like the men, especially in the village, feel like women cannot actually take charge of anything properly or take care of something properly, or they are easily manipulated, or someone can easily scare them off, things like that. That is why sometimes men feel like they cannot trust their property with women. But trust me, these days a woman can actually stand and say, you will not do this.
Yeah,
And
you will
once-
not take
yeah,
my land.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that is where we are when it comes to customary land tenuership. It has really affected women so much, but we thank the organizations that are empowering women. At least you will find that some women are able to advocate for their land rights. Yeah. So that's when I was talking about inheritance and as another characteristics. Please, we still have other characteristics. Like I've said, I talked about how it is owned, how people own land under customary land tenuership. Communally, yes, I talked about that. I've talked about the way land is passed on under customary land tenuership, so please stay with us. We are still actually giving you other characteristics. We have talked about the fact that actually customary land tenure system is the backbone of landholding in Uganda, and it is the dominant tenure system in Uganda per research that people have done. And we have talked about the fact that it is recognized by the laws of Uganda, starting with the Constitution to the last, Registration of Titles Act. So, and the land policies that have been put in place, So it is recognized by the law. And as we are discussing, you'll get to know further. Yeah, it is a tenure system that is very, very key in Uganda. We're still coming up with other characteristics of customary land tenure system.
Okay, before we go to another characteristic, for those that would like to join the conversation, you can definitely WhatsApp us at 0745965765. And for those that would like to listen in live, you can go on your Play Store, download Witness Radio app. You'll be listening in. And of course, those that are tuned in, continue spreading the gospel of land to other members. Tell a neighbor to tell a neighbor, tell a friend to tell a friend, so that they can come and sip a bit of the knowledge that we are giving you in this program. Know your land and environmental rights. But before we continue, let's go for a short break. We shall be...
Listen to Witness Radio and gain knowledge about land and environment injustices by communities.
This is Witness Radio, connecting indigenous and local community voices.
Welcome back from that short break. We are still so glad that you are still tuned in at Witness Radio. And I would like to take this opportunity to inform you, our dear listeners, that if you are facing any challenges related to human rights, land, or environment issues, kindly report to us directly using our USSD code *284*44#. Or you can reach us at our WhatsApp number 0745965765. I repeat, 0745965765, so that we can keep this conversation flowing. Before we went in for a break, we were still talking about the characteristics of customary land tenure, and the last characteristic was inheritance. Is that you acquire land from, let me say, your grandfather gave it to your father, and your father gave it to you, and you're soon giving it to your son. So it is maybe a family way of acquiring this land, or a clan way of acquiring this land, or a communal way of acquiring the land. So Miss Joanne is going to continue elaborating more of these characteristics of customary land tenure. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Rita, for giving us that short reminder of what we've discussed about before going for the break, like she said. So another characteristic that we have under customary land tenuership is we shall discuss about the documentation under customary land tenure system. when you to look at the documentation, historically customary land was undocumented. However, current legal provisions allow for the registration of customary land. So long ago, people used to stay on the land communally, and people used not to register land. However, boundaries were demarcated using natural makers and features such as hills, streams, hilltops, trees, shrubs or stones. That is the way someone would know the boundaries of their land, because land was never surveyed, So that's the only way people would know the kind of land. And then ascertainment of ownership was often witnessed by the clan or councils of leaders or the family heads. They're the ones who could ascertain leadership and be like, this portion of land belongs to this one, to who, or to this one or that one. However, where registration is happening, it is governed by Section 4, Clause 1 of the Land Act, as amended, Cap 277. Cap 227, which grants any person, family, or community holding land under customary tenure the liberty to apply for a certificate of customary ownership. You get it? Through the processes provided therein in the Land Act. Upon successful completion of the process, one is issued the certificate of customary ownership that shall be taken as conclusive evidence of the customary right and interests specified in it. So as of now, the Land Act has amended, please, to give the right for people owning under customary land to register their land interests and get a customary land title. As we shall be taking you through on how to register customary land ownership, so that you can get legal interests on land, because that is the reason as to why this program was actually initiated in the first place. You get it? Yeah. So we look at under the Land Act, registration of customary land is a decentralized process handled at the sub-county by the area land committee, and the recorder, popularly known as the sub-county chief, and it is at the district level by the district land boards. You get it? Owing to this decentralized nature, it is difficult to tell the extent of registration. On the other hand,
Madam John, before you go ahead, so I'm trying to understand. Customary land wasn't documented.
Yes,
meaning
it wasn't.
You don't have documents for the land
to show that you own the land.
Yeah, to show that you own the land.
Yeah, it is clan leaders who would actually say this kind of piece of land belongs to this family or this clan. Yes.
So these legal provisions, give us a right to document
our interests on land under customary tenure. Like someone can actually register, and you get customary ownership on the land. It can be, long ago we used to say that people, not too long, yeah.
Yes.
Like people would, it would even be very hard for someone to own land individually, like I was telling you, but of now, you can actually own land individually under customary land tenure, as long as you register it and you get a customary land title.
Okay.
Yes, that is it as of now, that at least now some people can register land, and at least they have legal ownership, which is it's an advantage to the owners, because these investors or people who actually evict people off their land illegally have been taking advantage of the fact that this land does not have legal or the people occupying it or the occupants don't have legal interests on that land, illegally evict them off the land or compensate them with petty money, claiming the land belongs to the government and all that.
Okay.
So I think this is something, this initiative of this law it is of great impact to the people that are owning land under customary land tenure.
Actually, on the other hand, it's a safer way of owning your land.
Yeah, and we urge everyone that is actually owning land under customary land tenure to please go and get that certificate, that customary land ownership certificate, so that you can have conclusive legal interests on your land. So I was still telling you that this registration will also they had to enact a law, the national land policy, and this one, the reason as to why they enacted it was to make progressive policy statements and strategies that affirm the status of customary tenure as that of stature with freehold tenure and expressly states in that because of the registration of customary land tenure system, so that people can get customary land titles, the Parliament had to enact a policy, the National Land Policy, and its main purpose was to make progressive policy statements and strategies that affirm the status of customary tenure as that of equal status with freehold tenure. Like if you have that customary land title, you're equal legal rights as of that one that has a land title under freehold tenure. Get it, eh? Yes. So this facilitates the evolution and development of customary tenure with social, economic, political, and other factors. Government took measures to design a land registry system to support the registration of land rights under the customary tenure system, and also to issue certificates of title of customary ownership based on a customary land registry that confers rights equivalent to freehold tenure. So please, you can get that land title if you have land under customary tenure, and we will be sensitizing you as the program moves on how you can register your interests on land if you own land under customary land tenure system, so that you can actually it gives you a better bargaining power in case actually someone wants to maybe buy your land, or maybe there is some illegal eviction that is happening in one or another. Yes. So those are the characteristics that we had, and just to take you through shortly, like I said, under customary tenure, it is recognized by all laws as we speak. Historically it was old communally, though right now we have rights to register as per the laws implemented by the Parliament, to see that people can actually have legal interests on land under customary land tenure system. Before, land heads used to administer each and everything, and we talked about the mode of transaction was more of inheritance, where it would move from grandfather to grandson to father. As of now, people, if you have a land title, and some people are actually owning land under customary land tenuership individually, you can easily sell off your land, and someone would not have to say any other thing. You get it? Though I'll not go there. So I was going to talk about the fact that some people feel like the fact that people want to register, like the Parliament or the government thought about people registering land under customary land tenure system. Yeah, it is a good thing, but some people feel like they just want to find a way of how they can easily start buying off customary land. You get it? Like, yes, it's another way of trying to make transactions easy, where people can buy, sell. So they will go through land leaders to actually sell the land to them, without even clan leaders getting to know that, the leaders are selling the land, So this is a topic that I wouldn't want to go into right now, because there is a lot that...
Yeah, we wouldn't go deep into it.
That is a tale. But these are things that we'll be discussing as we move forward.
Yeah, and also hope you've captured all these 4 characteristics that Miss Joan has been talking about. We started with the communal ownership. That is the first one that she talked about. And then we went to inherited rights. And then we went to land use and management. And then lastly, the documentation. And those are the 4 characteristics that govern the customary land tenure. Yes, I hope you're still on track, because I don't want to leave anyone behind, and we want to go together so that we can journey together with mastering these laws at our hands, so that we are not deprived of our land, so that we are not taken advantage of. Yes, Madam Joan, you can please continue to the next.
Thank you for the emphasis. Like I was saying, I talked about the fact that customary land ownership is actually recognized by the laws of Uganda. So we also decided to let you know what each law actually states about customary land ownership. You get it? So that, like we said, when we are advocating for our rights, we must refer to the law. And we shall start with the Supreme Law, that is the 1995 Constitution of Uganda as amended. So Article 237 of the Constitution of Uganda, it recognizes customary land tenure as one of the 4 tenure systems in Uganda. It provides for ownership of land by citizens under customary tenure, and grants communities the right to own and manage their land. So the Constitution gives the right for people to own land under that tenure system. We shall also go to the Land Act Land Cap has amended, Land Act has amended Cap 2 to 7, where actually we shall look at Section 4, where it formalizes customary tenure as a legitimate form of landholding. Then we look at Section 5, that empowers communities and individuals to convert customary tenure into freehold tenure. After obtaining certificate of customary ownership, that I told you that you have to register your land under customary land tenure system. So for you to get, you have to register your land so that you can get a customary land title on your land, and you can actually, when you get the title, you can convert it, especially when you're owning the land individually, you can convert it to freehold title so that you can own your land in perpetuity without anyone saying, you know, I'm the landlord or something like that. So we shall also look at Section 6. It details the rights and duties of customary landowners, including their ability to enter into transactions like selling, leasing, and mortgaging land. Strengthens provisions to protect customary landowners, particularly against forceful eviction. Yeah, actually, when you look at the Land Act as amended, it has really done a great job in making sure that the rights of people who are owning land under customary land tenure, their land rights are actually protected, especially against land evictions that, you know, were rampant in that kind of land tenure system, you know. So, yeah, I have a feeling its major cause for the amendment was to actually help out to protect the land rights of customary landowners.
Yes, Joan, just briefly. I'm looking at an incident where a clan leader and a heir, they are both top owners governing, like they are the managers of that land. On the two, who can transfer land, who can sell it?
In my own understanding, usually a heir, like a family, can actually own land, like like owning land, like you own the land. But it's just that the clan leader is there to know that actually this land belongs to this particular family. You get it? So a clan leader can actually help or can carry out transactions on land, but also the heir has a right to carry out transactions on the family land. You get it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they all have rights to, and to know who is selling, and they can also give rights to who sells and who occupies what and who does what on their land. In my own understanding, that's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we are still talking about what the Land Act says about customary land ownership. Like I was saying, that this act, especially the amended Act of 2010, actually I feel like it was enacted to address Uganda's rising cases of land conflicts, forceful evictions, and land grabs that were happening under customary land tenure system. Many customary landowners were losing their land due to gaps in the legal framework, lack of documentation, and power imbalances, especially involving powerful individuals, corporations, or government projects. They would look for that land, and they would have a feeling, they will sit there and say, there is some land that maybe I have a feeling they would probably consult with the land ministry, and they're like, there is some land that is vacant here and shows there are no people, something like that. Or there is some land that is not registered, and I'm just saying, I'm not this off record. So they usually take advantage of customary land tenure system to actually look for, the fact that it is not registered, to probably come up with a land title, a forged land title, to say, okay, this land belongs to this one, and then find a way of how to evict people that are on the land so that they can implement whatever they want to implement on that land. Yes. So the amendments still aim to balance the rights of registered landowner and tenants, ensuring the customary owners form the majority in rural Uganda are not displaced unjustly. It also sought to curb exploitation by landlords or investors who take advantage of the undocumented nature of customary land to claim ownership. Customary land tenure is one of the Uganda's most common forms of land ownership. Like I was saying, it is dominant. You get it? Traditional practices govern it and are often undocumented. Like we are talking about the characteristics, like, you know, of land tenure system, of customary land tenure system. That's how, you know, things happen. So when you look at the Land Act, the amendment provides clear legal protections to ensure customary landowners cannot be evicted from their land arbitrarily or without due process. The Act establishes strict guidelines for evictions, requiring that they be lawful, involve proper notice and be carried out in compliance with court orders and the laws of Uganda. It goes ahead to say any eviction that does not follow these procedures is considered illegal and perpetrators can face legal consequences. The Act introduces penalties for individuals or entities that carry out unlawful evictions. I understand, sometimes I know it is hard sometimes to get justice from court, especially let's say if the person you're fighting with is the government, or an investor that is actually being backed up by government. I am telling you, Rita, you can die through, I don't know what, to get justice through Ugandan courts. That's why people have resorted to actually seeking for justice from international organizations or, using accountability mechanisms,
Yeah, I'm sorry to say, but I feel like this act is just there for formality because it is not existing in the currency of today.
Like it is in the theory, but practically,
yes,
it is
practically,
something different.
because we are having so many land evictions and this law is doing nothing about it.
I agree with you to a certain point. That's why I was telling someone that the truth is the laws are there, but the implementation is very weak. You get me? Like some people feel they're above the law and there is nothing you can do about them, and then if they want something, they want it. Like there is nothing you're going to tell me, like I have backup of this one and this, I want that land, I want it. And a lot of corruption has also brought a lot of injustices, So the laws are there. People are trying. Organizations are every day advocating, through the advocacy campaigns for policy reforms and all that. The laws are there, the parliament is doing everything, but the implementation is very, very weak. And also, yet it is very key.
Yes, and also, I think these laws are somehow, on a scale of 2%, they are working, but the people that are supposed to implement them, sadly, they're the people that are not doing the right thing.
They are breaking the law.
Yeah, they are the ones that breaking the law. In a bid not to wanting to break the law, they end up doing the wrong thing. And since they know they have the nation at their hands, they have the whole Uganda at the palm of their hands, they are breaking these laws and nobody is going to say anything about it. And when people come up to talk about these issues, most of them are jailed. Anybody that is raising against them, they are jailed. And at the end of the day, justice is not served. At the end of the day, these laws are not working and they are not being seen anywhere.
You're very right. Very right. So we have the laws, but it is
and
so sad.
Actually, this is a call. This is a call to those that are concerned. They have to make sure these laws are actually working. They are being implemented.
The problem is if you try to help the bodies or the authorities that are supposed to make sure the laws are implemented, and you put it to their attention that, look, there is a human rights violation here. Can you please do something about it? You look as if you're anti-government, you're anti-development, and then they will come after you. So if you do not have a strong, stony heart, there are certain advocacy campaigns or things you don't want to involve yourself in because you still want to live. You want to live a peaceful life. I mean, you don't want people to go after you in one or another. But I wish the government or people in authority knew that when probably organizations come up to say this is wrong, it's not like they're anti-governmental or developmental. They just want things to be put in order so that everyone lives happily in their nation. You get it? Because we're supposed to live happily, harmoniously, peacefully, in our country. But you find, can you imagine when you talk about land rights, like there's a time we went to the community and then we found like Ugandans. In fact, it was a refugee camp. We found Ugandans actually, they had to forge Congolese names to make sure they get something to eat. They were in a Congolese camp, you get it? But just because they evicted them from their land and they could not get land elsewhere. Like they evict you, no compensation, no what. You have nowhere to start from, you get it? So you find even the refugees, like people say, live better in this country than the citizens.
Actually. I've just read a comment on Twitter and and Richard says this law, this act should be abolished, like should be just removed so that we can know it's not there. And
No.
yeah,
it is very hard for us to actually remove the law, you know.
Yeah.
There is no way, because in one way or another, if you remove it, what are you going to rely on if you're reporting someone for violating your right? Because when you're reporting a case, even if you do it internationally, you will tell them that this one has broken the laws of Uganda. This law, constitution says this, they have acted contrarily. This says this. So if we remove them, in fact it will put the state in a state of anarchy. Like, we will be there. Like, it cannot work, because imagine if right now we have the laws but people are still suffering. Imagine if the nation is lawless, sorry, what would happen? You get it?
Yeah.
So we cannot do away with the laws however much we want.
Yeah.
Like, they will help us always to get justice. It's not like people don't get justice every time. No, sometimes people do. If you back up your legal proceedings with some other ways, some other tactics, like people do media, you go advocacy, things like that, usually you will win those cases. So we cannot do away with the law, but we just have to make sure we fight so hard to see that they're implemented. And this must start with us. You get it? Because if Rita, I come and I tell you, please, I want that land, you know, and you don't have legal ownership on the land, you don't even know your land rights, you're just there, and I'm like, this land belongs to the government, you must leave. You will leave whether you like it or not. Whether you refuse, we shall remove you by force. You get it? And in you don't even know, where should I report? Where should I start from? What to do? It will be very easy for those people to take advantage of you. So as we are busy saying the government should do blah blah, because we know a lot of human rights violations happen in Uganda because the government has failed to actually make sure the authorities responsible implement these laws. You get it? Or sometimes they even side with the oppressors to actually oppress the people. You get me? It should also start with us. It should start with us, so that if someone comes to your land and says, someone comes to take your land away, you will be like, on what grounds? I have this land title. It is mine. So you're taking it as who? Then you're like, you're taking me off my land, but you have to compensate me anyway. How much? So you have to be knowing all these laws on your tips. So it will start with us. That is why I have always said, that's actually why Witness Radio was like, no, people need to know about their land and environmental rights, to see that they can advocate for their rights from an informed point of view and always refer to the law.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I think Richard is hearing and has noted that, because I know he's speaking from a biased point of view.
Okay.
Yes.
I know. Sometimes it touches. Sometimes you talk to community members and you feel like you find someone is very frustrated. So I understand the pain. Yeah. So we are still talking about the Land Act as amended, and we'll also talk about the fact that to recognizes. Yes, like I was saying, we're still talking about the Land Act as amended, and it significantly recognizes an attempt to regulate customary land tenure by allowing individuals and communities holding land under customary practices to acquire a certificate of customary ownership, especially providing legal recognition to their land rights while still upholding the traditional norms of their respective communities. This is particularly important as a large portion of land in Uganda is held under customary tenure, not formally registered freehold titles. So the land title, I have been able to tell you what the Land Act actually entails, what it talks about when it comes to customary land tenure system. It will talk about its registration. Please. In fact, it advocates for registration as much as possible so that you can have legal interests on your land, and when someone comes to actually evict you, or it is easy for you to actually engage in land transactions, please, we urge you to go and register your land under so that you can be able to get customary land ownership titles. We urge you, please. And as we move forward, we will be actually taking you through the procedure on how you can actually process for that land title under customary land, on customary land. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Before we go ahead, let us just take a sip of water and then we shall be back. Welcome back.
Listen to Witness Radio and gain knowledge about land and environment injustices by communities.
Breaking the silence and elevating community voices. Witness Radio, your number one choice.
Nakato Priscilla from Mukono district and representing the affected communities in Mukono district. I just want to appreciate what Witness Radio has done for our people who are affected, whose land has been taken. They've suffered from evictions massively, but even as individuals.
This is Witness Radio, connecting indigenous and local community voices.
Back from that short commercial break, we are still moving forward, and if you'd like to comment, kindly do on all our social media handles, and we are available to reply your comments, to reply whatever ideas that you have, and for those that are having challenges or are facing challenges related to human rights, land or environmental issues, you can kindly report to us directly using our USSD code *284*44#. You can text us, send a voice note on our WhatsApp number at 0745965765. Madam Joan, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, please continue.
Yeah, welcome back from this short commercial break. Like we are still talking about customary land tenure system. Hope you people are moving with us. Please don't get tired. Don't get tired. We need to fight for our land rights collectively, for us to have a Uganda that is sweet for everyone, and it's comfortable for all citizens to actually stay in without being without fear of being landless at any moment because of the desire for large chunks of land for investment projects to be implemented in Uganda. So we are now discussing about the registration of Titles Act. This is under the fact that we said we are trying to show you that actually customary land tenure system is recognized in the laws of Uganda. So we started with the land. We started with the constitution, where we were able to tell you that it actually recognizes customary land tenure system. We were discussing about the Land Act and what it says about customary land tenure system, where people can actually own land. And a customary land tenure system, people can actually register their land, and the protections it gives to people that actually own the land under customary land tenure system. So now we are going to the Registration of Titles Act, Cap 230, and here it provides for the registration of customary land titles, which offers formal recognition and protection under the law. The Registration of Titles Act governs the processes of registering land titles in Uganda and establishes the tolerant system of land registration. This system ensures that registered land titles are legally binding and provides security of ownership. It creates a public record of land ownership, making transactions involving land easier and less prone to disputes, because when you have your land title, no one will come and say that land doesn't belong to me, or it is very hard for someone to actually go and forge a land title. I understand there is a lot of corruption, but at least you will have saved, yourself from, because the risks may be there when actually your land is, the risks are more when your land is registered than when it is not. You get it? So under the still the Registration of Titles Act, individuals or communities holding land under customary tenure can apply for registration of their land to formalize their ownership rights. Once registered, customary landowners are issued certificates of title, which provide evidence of ownership and ensure protection under statutory laws. So please register your land titles. We shall be taking you through the procedures of actually registering so that your land, so that you can have legal interests, So the Registration of Titles Act, in conjunction with other land laws such as the Land Act as amended, facilitate the issuance of customary ownership, like we have told you. So certificate of customary ownership is a formal document that certifies land ownership, you get it, under customary tenure. It is the first step towards obtaining a full land title if the owner chooses to convert the land to freehold tenure. So if you want to convert your land to freehold tenure when you owning land under customary land tenure system, you must make sure you obtain that certificate of customary ownership. It is the first process you have to go through before you get the freehold title. So this process ensures that customary landowners enjoy the same legal protections as those holding land under freehold or leasehold. You get it? So no one will have again to say now your legal interests on land are not clear. They will be clear because you're having a land title on your land. So once a customary land title is registered, it is protected by law, and any transactions involving the land must follow the procedures outlined in the Registration of Titles Act. By registering customary land, we assure you disputes related to boundaries, ownership, and transactions can be minimized, because usually your land will be surveyed. Your land will be surveyed during that process of registration, and the public record maintained under the torrent system ensures transparency and accessibility, making it easier to verify ownership and resolve conflicts. So please go and secure your land titles on your land to avoid issues of to have a better bargaining power in case of any land eviction or transaction, or to have a clear form to show that you really have a legal interest on your land.
Yes, a formal document.
Yes. So the formal registration process also protects women, youth and marginalized groups who are often excluded from land, especially under customary settings.
Yes.
So right now, since an individual can own land under customary tenure, a woman has a right to go and register their land in their names and get a customary certificate on a customary land title on the land. So it has also helped out with the issue of discrimination against women and children, So we also have the Local Government Act, Cap 243, and this one empowers local governments. We had done with the Registration of Titles Act. Now this is another what? Now this is another act, because the Registration of Titles Act has been very clear. It provides for specifically registration. Please you go and register your legal interests on land, and so that so that the law can actually fight for your land rights from a legal perspective.
Yes.
Yeah, so that you can have sole ownership of your land. So we urge you to please go and register your land as much as you can.
Yes,
so
and
now
they should also remember that the law is blind. When you don't have evidence, we don't know you. You must have solid evidence to show that the land is yours.
Exactly.
Once you don't have it, my dear, that land, like, you can say bye-bye to your land.
You don't have what to say when you don't have evidence to show that you own something.
Yes.
So yeah. So we're still talking about now the fact that the local government, now with another law, this is the Local Government Act, Cap 243. This one empowers local governments to work with communities in resolving disputes related to customary land and ensure adherence to local norms, So please do as much as you can to make sure that you secure land interests on land, so that all other laws can recognize you and you can be able to fight for your land rights from an informed point of view, or with legal basis, yes, or with evidence basis, or non-evidence basis. You get it? So another law another core law that was actually enacted was the National Land Policy of 2013, and this one acknowledges customary land tenure as a significant form of landholding and aim to harmonize it with statutory systems to enhance the security of tenure and sustainable land use, So under the National Land Policy, the central objective of the policy was to integrate customary tenure with statutory systems of land management and governance. This policy aims to provide legal recognition and documentation for customary tenure to ensure its security and reduce disputes. Customary land ownership or landowners are encouraged to register their land under the Certificate of Customary Ownership, which formalizes their tenure and provides evidence of ownership. So when we are in summary, even the land policy, usually it was actually enacted to also encourage people that are owning land under customary land tenure to see that they so much register their interests on land and get those land titles. The policy also emphasizes the need for sustainable land use practices to protect natural resources and ensure long-term benefits for future generation. I was saying under the National Land Policy, like I was telling you, under this policy, still customary landowners are encouraged to adopt environmentally friendly practices while balancing cultural and economic needs. It acknowledges the traditional knowledge and community governing structures that have historically promoted sustainability in customary settings. So the policy advocates for gender equity in land ownership, including within customary systems where women's land rights have often been marginalized. It seeks to address historical injustices that exclude certain groups, e.g. women, youth, and vulnerable populations, or vulnerable people, like the disabled, from enjoying full land ownership and customary under customary law. So,
John, before you go ahead, so this is actually the law that fights for all of us.
Yeah.
Both the sons and the daughters.
Yes.
That we can all inherit.
Yeah, you can not even inheriting, like you can own land.
Or you can actually
as long
own
as
land.
You register, because it is very specific. Like it really encourages people to register land more than inheritance. Like you must have a customary ownership, certificate of customary ownership. It advocates people to go and register their land. And yes,
and also encouraging the people to carry out these economic needs like agriculture.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey.
So it's the main reason as to why the national land policy was actually enacted was to make sure that the people owning land and a customary land tenure system can actually acquire land, or they can register. They have to register their land, and get legal ownership.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Joanne. And for those that are listening in live, you can send in your comments about whatever that we have discussed about. You can, if you haven't understood anything, kindly, you can find us on all our social media handles. We shall give you the information that you need. And for those that want to listen in live, download Witness Radio app so that you can listen in live. All those that are having challenges related to land or environmental issues or human rights, you can actually call us directly at 041 4697 221. I repeat, 041 4697 221. And you have been a wonderful listener from all the way. And I would like to say, keep tuning to Witness Radio because more is coming. And I'd like to tell Miss Joan, kindly say bye to our dear listeners. Yeah.
Thank you, our dear listeners, for staying tuned to this program. Please do not get tired. It will be very, very, very good to actually fight for our land and environmental rights collectively, because when voices speak, they are easily heard than when one voice actually speaks. So please stay tuned to the program. Thanks for actually listening to us. Bye-bye.
Okay, I am Rita Babide. You should definitely not touch that dial. More programs are still coming. Have a blessed day.
Nyabwendi ekikomando nkimanyi mbulidde ekikomando naye nzira waffe naye kati bamenye nzira ku street bazira ku street okitegeera nzira ku street bangenda kubba
agenda batya okukijingirira oba bakikola batya tetwamanya tugenda okulaba nga kakande azze ne fayiro nga batugamba nti yaguze ettaka kwaffe yaliguze kwani ettaka lyaffe.
Witnessradio.org changes all of that.
This is Witness Radio, connecting indigenous and local community voices.